Morning everyone. I'm going to start this week's video off by answering a question I was asked this week by one of the members of the class. The question is, why on slide 31 is the third ionization of magnesium so much higher than the second ionization energy of magnesium? Okay, so to answer this question, we need to take a few things into consideration. Okay, so first thing we need to know is the electron arrangement of magnesium, which is 282. Okay, so if we drew out a diagram, this is what the diagram of magnesium would look like. We also need to know that there is a nuclear charge of 12 positive. There's a nuclear charge of 12 positive because we've got 12 electrons, 282, and that in an atom that is balanced out by 12 protons in the nucleus. Okay, so why is the third ionization energy so much higher than the second? Okay, so we'll start explaining why about the first ionization energy. So what the first ionization energy is it's the amount of energy that is required to remove 1 mole of electrons from 1 mole of gaseous magnesium atoms. Okay, so this is relatively easy. It's 744 kilojoules per mole. It's relatively easy because we are removing an electron from an outer shell, and that electron is quite far away from the nucleus. So the effective charge of the nucleus on that electron is quite low because it's in the outer shell, and we also have a layer of electrons shielding that outer electron from the nucleus. So little energy is required to remove it. Similar story for the second ionization energy. It's 1460. It's a bit higher. It's still coming from that second ionization energy is removing that last outer electron from the outer shell. The effective charge is slightly higher because we've got 11 electrons now when we're removing the second electron, but we've still got a 12 positive charge coming from the nucleus. Okay, now the third ionization energy is much higher than the second because, for a couple of reasons. We are now having to remove an electron from a full outer shell of electrons, okay, and that electron is also closer to the nucleus, okay, so it's feeling a higher effective nuclear charge from the nucleus, and there's no shielding either. Okay, so there is a much higher ionization energy for the third ionization of magnesium compared to the second ionization. Okay, I hope that answers your questions. If you've got any more questions, please post them up and I'll try and answer them up here if I can. Okay, thanks again. To show you what I want you to do this week. First thing I want you to do is to try the Kahoot that I set you. Please choose a name that allows me to easily identify you so I know how you're getting on. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to look at the learning intentions for this week that are stored underneath the Files tab. So that's taking a little bit of time to open on my computer, so I'll just show you the PowerPoint here. I want you to look at slide 4 of 12 this week, which is all about different types of chemical bonding. So we've got covalent and ionic bonding that you should be familiar with from National 5. But what is new and higher is that something called polar covalent bonding, and that exists because electrons aren't always shared equally in a covalent bond, and that can be electronegativity values of atoms can be used to describe this. Okay, so that's the new part this week, and you'll find out that bonding actually exists as a continuum, and you should be able to use physical properties to predict the different types of bonding that exist. Okay, so that's the learning intentions. I've got a new PowerPoint that I want you to look at this week. It's PowerPoint B, which is on structure and bonding. So if you look underneath the PowerPoints tab, you should find this week's PowerPoint. Okay, so I want you to open B, structure and bonding, and I'm wanting you to look at slides 1 through to 20. So I want you to read through slides 1 through to 20 and take notes on that. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this week's questions. I want you to do questions 1 to 14 from the bonding and structure chapter. So it's the second chapter of questions.
That looks like it's going to take a little bit of time to open up on my computer. So here it is already open. I want you to scroll down this document, and you are going all the way down to, here we go, section 2 or chapter 2, structure and bonding. I want you to, they're all multiple choice questions. I want you to complete questions 1 through to 14. Okay, so that's what I am wanting you to do this week. If you want to do a little bit extra, you can always go to the Scholar website, the Heriot Watt Scholar website, and you can do section 4 of chapter 1, bonding continuum and polar covalent bonding. Okay, what I want you to upload is pictures of your notes or copies of your notes, and also picture of your questions that you've completed. Okay, right, thanks.